Hi, everyone. This is a Q&A, and I'm Vicki Stark, and I answer your questions. This is a holiday week for many people, where we have first Passover and then Easter. And it's a time where people are thinking about their families, thinking about your husband who left, thinking about the things you used to do to celebrate holidays. And our first question tonight is about your in-laws and the loss of that part of your family. And so Charlotte asks, how to cope with the abrupt loss of your in-laws? These were people who were like a second family to you, and you lose them as suddenly as you lose your runaway husband. It really hurts. And there are resources to lean on overcoming the end of your marriage. There's nothing to help you cope with the loss of your in-laws. It's not fair. I'm not the one who cheated, but it throws me out. So I can totally relate to this because in maybe a gentler kind of way, I also lost contact with my in-laws, and it was very difficult for me. I really loved my mother-in-law. She was a wonderful woman, and it was a tremendous loss for me. But what I realized is that in the final analysis, he's their son. And if you have to choose between him and you, and even if he comes with a new girlfriend or the person who broke up your marriage, they're going to choose blood as thicker than water. They're going to choose their son, because for them, for your in-laws, for your mother-in-law, your father, maybe sister, brother-in-law, the potential of losing their son is unthinkable. And so if they have to choose between their son and their former daughter-in-law, even if it's not the right thing to do, it's human nature, it's natural. They're going to choose their son. And sometimes it's just too complicated to stay in touch with you. And so they're only human. They take the course of least resistance. And they're going to choose their son. And as much as it hurts you, it's, if you look at it from their point of view, it's understandable. So the next three questions are really profound questions, and they all go to the same theme. And the theme is, how do I stop hurting? So the first question from this says, how do you get unstuck in the trauma brain? I'm doing everything I can to distance myself and make good boundaries. I'm making a life of my own. I find something always draws me back to the trauma of everything, and it's almost like an addiction to be lured back. So first of all, I want to acknowledge that for maybe 99% of us who experience wife abandonment syndrome, we have experienced a trauma. It is a true clinical trauma. When your life spins on a dime and you don't recognize it, and everything that you believed in, you believe to be true, is now appears to be untrue. It's very traumatic. And so we're always trying to, maybe there's some internal mechanism that may want to think, wait a minute, maybe this isn't true. Maybe come back. Maybe there's some way to get my life back. And so what Lisa talks about is that it's almost like an addiction to be lured back in. I think what the addiction means is hope. That even though it might be 6 months or a year or 3 years since he left, there's still that hope, that is that little particle of hope inside of you, and you don't want to give it up. And that's that sense that maybe he'll come to his senses. Maybe, he had a knock to his head and he's going to come right again. And that's that addictive quality of trying to get your life back, get your marriage back. And so addiction means to be giving up hope, and then you come face to face with the sense of loss and the grief. And I know you've experienced the grief, but by giving up the addiction and saying, okay, it's over. I'm not going to get this marriage back. This is not going to happen. then I think that you're going to have to experience that tremendous sense of grief. And it's necessary. And you just have to experience it, and you have to get through it. Now, one other thing I want to say about trauma is that if it's possible for you to do some work with a trauma counselor, do it. We use EMDR, which is a way of healing trauma, or tapping. EFT tapping is another way of healing trauma. So if you work with a trauma therapist, and the focus being healing from trauma, I think that it's really advisable. I think if you can do it, go for it. So another question along the same lines comes from Lauren, which is, how do you make yourself stop loving someone that doesn't love you and hasn't loved you for a long time? It's a similar question. How do you stop that sense of longing? And I think that you can envision a life beyond what you're going through now. If you can cast your mind out and recognize that there is a future and there is a life for you, and this doesn't necessarily have to be the only great love in your life. And even if you don't have a love, that you can still have happiness. You can still have a meaningful life. You can still surround yourself with your family and your friends and your work or your hobbies or whatever. You can enrich your life, and you can have happiness. And if you don't feel as though the only happiness or the only love is going to come from the relationship that ended, and you can envision a future for yourself in a different kind of way, then I think it's possible to stop loving. I also think that you have to be practical. You're using a lot of emotional energy in loving someone that doesn't love you back. It's very exhausting. It's not healthy for you. So I think you have to sort of say to yourself, come on, girl, time to stop. Open your grasp, let it go. It's not going to come back. And I'm not going to keep loving him if he doesn't love me. I'm just not going to do it. So it's a question of being able to leave the past behind and being courageous enough to take a step forward into your new life. And then finally, Vicky says, how do you manage the horrible psychological pain from being betrayed by the person you trusted with your life? And this is a huge, Runaway Husbands question. You've been betrayed by somebody that you trusted, and that pain is immense. But if you can recognize that this person having betrayed you doesn't represent everyone in the world as being untrustworthy, that he had his reasons, he had his motivation for ending the marriage in the way that he did, and you didn't see that side of him, you didn't see it coming, you didn't know that he was like that, but he was. And I think that sense of betrayal, a lot of people feel like, if he betrayed me and other people can betray me, who can I trust? But if you recognize, like I did, that it was just this one particular individual, that not everyone is like that not every man is like that, and that sometimes people do act in that kind of callous, cold way. And of course you're hurt, but with time and with your determination to get past this, you will, and you can again. And you can recognize that there are lots of very good, trustworthy people in this world, and that this particular individual who betrayed you is not trustworthy, but that doesn't mean that other people are going to betray you as well. So that's for tonight. I hope you're well. I hope you stay well. I hope you're getting through this coronavirus case, and you're going to try to be strong, keep going, and I'll look forward to seeing you next Wednesday night at 7:30 Eastern. Lots of love.